The days where the baddie, the supervillain, was in a cave or a dark lair somewhere, those days are finished.
Not everybody who went there has the ideology of ISIS or other negative ideologies.
Although that governments around the world are, the work has been very effective in sort of stemming the tide, the narrative is forever shifting.
On the front line of the battle against extremism, Suleiman Samuel is well known within the Muslim community here in Birmingham.
You can have someone who's from Afghanistan in this shop, you can have someone from Pakistan in the next shop.
But few are aware of the highly sensitive, vital work he undertakes in the fight against terrorism. Part of the government's Channel Anti-Extremism programme, he intervenes to help steer young Muslims away from radicalisation.
I would say the majority of the work that I do now is based around the kind of phenomenon of Syria and young people being kind of attracted or their attention being grabbed by that.
Islamic State's narrative, he says, is far more pervasive than Al-Qaeda's ever was. Young, tech-savvy jihadis reaching right into the bedrooms of vulnerable young men and women.
With the advent of technology, with the internet, people pretty much can promote any idea they have. The online side of this is what has taken over, and it's the biggest challenge.
In recent months, Islamic State's brutality has been there for all to see. The murders of US journalists James Foley, Stephen Sotloff and British charity worker David Haynes were condemned around the globe. But it was the plight of the Salford taxi driver turned aid worker Alan Henning, who Suleiman Samuel believes brought about a fundamental shift in opinion on Syria from within the Muslim community.
Alan was a good man and Alan didn't deserve to be harmed. All sections of the community came out with that message. Muslim, non-Muslim, Christian, white, black, everyone came out with that same message. So when Alan finally was killed by ISIS and they put that information out there on the internet, that was the turning point. How could you kill an innocent man who'd left his own family, who'd sacrificed his time, his family, to go and help the very people most of us wish and hope we could help? What had he done wrong? Absolutely nothing. Everyone was clear this is a good man who was helping people in the very country that is now in ruins. No one can justify what's happened to him.
A senior government security source has told Sky News they've also noticed a discernible shift in attitudes within the Muslim community on the merits of fighting in Syria, that terrorist groups like Islamic State had made the environment much less clear-cut. And there's little doubt the extremely brutal nature of Islamic State's propaganda campaign has been a wake-up call for many, according to the Security Minister.
I think some of the shocking videos that we have seen of brutalising murder has underlined simply what ISIL is about and why it has prompted British Muslims to go online, to post their own videos, to underline their absolute abhorrence to this appalling violence and brutality.
But aid worker Majid Freeman, who was on the convoy with Alan Henning when it was ambushed by militants, believes many of those with the desire to fight in Syria won't be deterred, even by what happened to his friend.
To some extent, yes, there is some truth to Alan's death. Maybe it may have put some people off from going towards Syria to fight. But what we've seen after that, the airstrikes, I think these airstrikes which killed more innocent civilians would maybe push people towards going towards that region.
At this outreach centre in East London, they're trying to reach young minds before online-based radicalisers get to them. The message is uncompromising. These youngsters, some as young as 11, are given a graphic insight into the brutal nature of Islamic State.
Now You've got people from ISIS saying that no matter where you are in the world, go and kill a non-Muslim. Go and kill a Muslim if he disagrees with you. Basically, kill anybody who disagrees with you and who is against ISIS.
The outreach team here say all of their work is now taken up with combating Syria-related extremism. The message, they believe, is getting through to increasing numbers, but they say the threat from Islamic State will be around for many years.
Although that governments around the world are, the work has been very effective in sort of stemming the tide, the narrative is forever shifting. So that tide will be slow and steady, but it won't be as strong and heavy as it was before. So the flow of individuals has reduced, but because of their narrative it's forever shifting, we can see trickling, of individuals from different parts of the country or different parts of the world that will still continue to follow that ideology.
The apparent shift in attitudes on the merits or risks of fighting in Syria isn't, it seems, just being felt by the mainstream Muslim community here in the UK. There's increasing evidence of a growing number of Britons already out in the region who've had a change of heart, who've seen at first hand the highly confused situation on the ground. Reports suggest dozens want to return home but fear prosecution.
Hello.
At home in Brighton, each time Abu Bakr Degayas takes a phone call, he fears more bad news. 3 of his sons travelled to Syria to fight the Assad regime. 2 have since been killed. Mr Degayas wants his remaining son to come home, but fears he'll be prosecuted as a terrorist.
Not everybody who went there has the ideology of ISIS or other negative ideologies. We must differentiate, we must understand, we must have patience to see the difference between who is who and what is what and why this is happening.
The government is so far unwilling to issue an open invite to Britons in Syria to return home. The most it'll promise is that each returning jihadi will be assessed on a case-by-case basis to determine the risk they pose. It's possible some may end up being supervised by Suleiman Samuel.
How you doing? Okay, nice to see you.
As he continues his drive against the threat from Islamic State, he's been heartened by the shift in public opinion following Alan Henning's death. As the charity worker's family continue to come to terms with their loss, Suleiman says he hopes they can take some comfort in knowing that many people have now been put off from going to join groups like IS.
In Alan's death, Alan has managed to save thousands of lives now and in the future of people who potentially might have been drawn into going out. His death has actually saved thousands of lives.
Mark White, Sky News.